Hey, so it's another story time with Jalen, and I'm gonna try to make this video about 9 minutes, or this audio about 9 minutes. But so today's story, we're focusing on something that happened when I was in 7th through 8th grade, right? Now, two things happened. I'm gonna be telling you one that affected primarily just me. Okay, so when I was in 7th grade, I was sitting there at lunch, and I was wondering how many milks one person could buy, because the chocolate milk is, it's pretty good. I'm wondering how much milk can somebody buy. Now, I go up there and I start, picking up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I end up picking out 15 cartons of milk. I put those 15 cartons of milk up on the counter. No food, just milk. And it comes out to $6. Now, I bring my 15 cartons of milk over to my table, and I start drinking them. You feel me? Now, one of the deans sees that I'm drinking 15 cartons of milk, and that's not something you should be doing, she says. And she's like, Jalen, you're gonna get sick from this. You're gonna puke everywhere, and that's not something we want. I'm like, I'm just thirsty. I'm just trying to stay hydrated. And so what I end up doing is I end up keep drinking my milk. I keep chugging away. And she starts taking my milks. She's taking all of them away. Fast forward to maybe next week. I start getting more and more milk. She sees this, starts making me put them away, right? So I'm only allowed to get 2 milks. I got a permanent milk ban. I was only allowed to get 2 milks from now on. So that's what I did. I got 2 milks. My friends also got 2 milks and gave me their milks, until I added up to 15 milks. I got 15 milks because my friends are fucking G's. You know what I mean? And so I was drinking my milk again. And they're like, oh, Jalen won't have, we won't have to worry about Jalen because he has a milk ban. He can only get 2 milks. Plot twist, motherfuckers. I had 15 milks and I was drinking them. The dean sees this and comes back over. And she starts taking my milks. But this time I slip one under the table. And I finish drinking my one, and then she puts it in the garbage and starts taking the rest of them. So putting them all back. Because I want it opened. And I got one under there. And she turns around and I open it. And I start drinking it. I start drinking it when she doesn't even notice. And then she turns back around and sees me just chugging away. Just chugging on that milk. And then she sends me to the dean's office. And then I get lunch detention, which I didn't do. And then I made a religion around this. I made milkyism. We praised Cthulhu. Okay, that was one story. It's time for the second story that affected the majority of my friends through 7th grade. In 8th grade, we didn't really do it as much. So we had me, James, Robert, Jacob, Nikki, Lavaris, Nate, Dominic. We had the boys, we had everybody playing. Forgetting someone? I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Nikki, Dominic. Oh yeah, okay, so that's about everyone I can remember. And okay, so we're sitting in class basically, and we start talking about how fun tag is. And so we go into school the next day, and then I was selected to be it, right? So I'm the first tagger. And so we open the door and everybody's going. I see we're the first people out of our doorways. And then we're all just running, baby. We're all running. I'm going down the stairs. We're going to our electives. I'm like, oh. I didn't get a single person. Every single time I'd get someone, they were given one pause. They could say pause, and then I couldn't tag them. The majority of people would use this as cheating. Where I tag them, they say pause, and they'd be like, I said pause, and when they'd be halfway down the hallway, and they'd be in their classroom, and I'm like, no, you didn't. You said pause. I heard you, but this is not what I was mainly talking about. This is something that happened in 8th grade, because I had to give you the basic gist of what we were doing. So as we were playing tag, we were in the lunchroom, and we start running out, right? And I start chasing after James. He's the primary suspect in this story. So I start chasing after him. He starts chasing. He starts running down the hall, and then this teacher is like, "Stop! She doesn't get in our way because she doesn't want to be hit by this bulldozer. So she moves out of the way, and then we keep running. Right now, James turns around and doesn't expect me to keep chasing him. This is what he told me later on. He didn't expect me to keep chasing him past this point. So he turns around and he falls into the doors. And I'm like, gotcha. I tap him. Alright? So he's one of the its now. But we get sent to the dean's office. And then we're just sitting there. They're like, how old are you guys? You guys are in 8th grade. You guys are older. You guys shouldn't be playing tag. What if you hurt somebody? And we were like, we wouldn't, we wouldn't hit somebody. Like, that's just something that we wouldn't do. But then the teacher, when she's dropping us off, is like, these 2 kids were full on sprinting down the hallways. And we get released back to our rooms, and then I get called down. And I'm sitting there, right? And then I look over in one of the dean's offices, and there's James just standing there. And he's just standing there, and all of a sudden I hear him say, she was trying to get hit. And I'm like, what? What is he talking about? And so I see him he walks out, they call me in. So I go and I sit down in the dean's office. I sit in his chair. And he's like, here's the security footage of you running through the halls. He's like, did you see what you did there? I'm like, no, I didn't see what I did there. He's like, you hit her. I'm like, really? I did? He's like, yeah, you hit her. I'm like, I don't remember hitting her. He's like, well, you and James did hit her. I'm like, and James didn't, but okay. And so I didn't really say that. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, didn't mean to. And she's like, oh, well, like, you're very respectful, much more. He said I was much more respectful than James was. But yeah, me and him do not recall ever hitting her. What ended up happening was, apparently my fucking zipper must have hit her, because I didn't make any physical contact with her, and neither did James. But yeah, that's pretty much what it was like, what tag was like. But we had a few people though in our group who would, they would cheat. But I was always it, which sucked. But at the same time, it was kind of fun. But yeah, that's pretty much all it is, But